Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the 5 senses collage if you have Photoshop. So you'll go here to the 5 senses photo challenge in Canvas. And then on here there is a template for you to download. So right here is the download. This one right here is just showing you the height and width of each square when you're cropping them in Photoshop to fit in here exactly. So you'll have 5 pictures for your 5 senses. Here's my template. I'm going to click there and download and then open it up in Photoshop. It should automatically upload, just taking a second. And then I am going to open up each of my individual photos for this project in Photoshop. Okay, so here's my template. And then now what I'm going to do is click on my home button and then do open. And I just downloaded these off of my stock website. Here's one. I'm going to open that one. And then let me go to my downloads here and see. Okay, here's the other 3. So I'm actually just going to highlight those and drag them into Photoshop. And this is another way you can get your pictures into Photoshop. You can drag them. You drag them up to the top line. If you drop them right here, it will stack them on top of each other, which we don't want. So I go up here till it gives me the 4, showing me that's going to open 4 separate windows. So if I let that go, across the top, you'll start to see all these tabs open, and that's how you can navigate and have multiple photos open in Photoshop. This is your options bar. These are your files. So whatever file you have open, they're here. And then this right here is your toolbar. And so to do certain things in Photoshop, you have to use a certain tool, which we're going to use a few of those today. For some reason, those don't want to download. Let me click on them again. There they are. Okay, now I should be able to go back to Photoshop and open them. Let's go to Site. So open, I saved them on my desktop in the 5 senses folder. So let me open these other ones. Okay, so these are all pictures that I have taken for different things. So what I need to do is look at my grid, decide which picture I want to put in what box. So let's say I'm going to put the pumpkin guts in this box. So if I go back to my Canvas assignment, it's 3 by 3 inches and a 300 resolution. So I'm going to go to this picture. I'm using the crop tool. So the crop tool is this one right here. At the top, these options change depending on what tool you have selected here. So if I have the crop tool selected, I want it to be a square ratio because it's a 3 by 3 box. So I'm going to type in 3 and 3, and this is inches. But I also want my resolution. So to get my resolution box to show up, I'm going to actually do height, width, and resolution. So now you'll see 3 inches by 300. Inside this square is what will be cropped. So if I wanted to maybe get in a little closer on the pumpkin guts like this, anything inside this square will stay, the rest will be cropped out. So when I'm finished, I just right click and hit crop. Now I have my pumpkin guts. And then I'm going to select the whole thing. And to do that, all I do is push Control A or Command A. And that will give you marching ants. These are the little guys that look like they're moving around. That shows me what's selected. So then I can go up to File and edit and hit copy, or do Command C. If you learn these quick keys in Photoshop, it definitely helps. So Command C will copy, Command A will select the whole thing, and then Command V, as in violin, will paste it. And then all I have to do is drag my picture down to that box. So there's one. And then here's my next one. I'm going to put it in the same size box as well. So crop tool, I don't have to change anything here. And just decide, oops, what I want in my box to show up. Now, if you ever accidentally crop something wrong, you can push Command Z or Control Z and it will undo. If you push Control Alt Z or Command Shift Z, it will go back more than one step. So I just undid that so I could show you. So I'm going to crop that right there and hit crop. Then Command A, Command C to copy, come to my template, and Command V to paste. Now to move anything, you have to select the Move tool right here. If you let your cursor hover on it, it will show you what each tool does as you go down the toolbar. If you do not see this box around your pictures, just come up to the top and click on Show Transform Controls. And then I can move that one there. Here is Smell. Let's see, I really like this picture, so I think I'm going to put it in this box instead. So that is a 6x6 instead of 3x3. So all I have to do is click on my crop tool. My options will change up here, and I can do it 6x6, and 300 is my resolution. My template resolution is set to 300 as well, and so that's why these are perfect when you drop them, that they fit in the box. So Command A, Command C to copy, click on your template, Command V to paste. And now that one fits in this box right here. Then I can go to Site. I'm going to go back to a 3x3. And crop that one there. Command A, Command C, Command V to paste. V is in violin. And then for my last one, the Veterans Day Assembly from our school, that grid, let's go back, is 6x3. So it's the only one that's not square. So I'm going to change this. My width is going to be 6 and my height is going to be 3. Resolution stays the same. Then I can move this to where I want it. And maybe I want to zoom in a little bit closer. I don't want to cut off any of the trumpet. That looks good right there. So right click and crop. Command A to copy. Command A to select, Command C to copy, and Command V to paste. And then I can drag that right back up there. So if you look over here, you have what's called a layers panel, and every time I cut and paste something, it makes a new layer on Photoshop. That way, if I ever want to move something, I can drag it around. Like maybe I don't want this picture up here. I decided I want this one here instead. So I can move this one back down here. And then you can rearrange them when they're stacked on each other. So like this one goes over the top of this picture because it's the top layer or above this layer. If I was to change the order of my layers, now that one goes behind it. So that's another bonus to using layers in Photoshop. So that is your 5 senses assignment. You're just going to go to File, Save As, and save it as 5 senses. You can save it as a JPEG or a Photoshop file. Here, let me show you. File, Save As. Right here it gives you an option, so I can title it here. We'll do 5 senses. PSD means Photoshop document. Don't ever delete this off of here because your computer will not recognize the file, and then when I go to view it, I can't see anything. If you notice all these other files, they have what's called an extension at the end, and the extension is what tells the computer what kind of file it is. So these are all JPEGs, which is a picture. These are Photoshop files. This is a Word document. So make sure you don't ever delete the .psd off the top. And then here I can change the format. So I want to save it as a Photoshop file so I can edit it later, or am I just going to turn it in and save it as a JPEG so it squishes all my layers together? There is a video on Canvas on how to do this, but if I want to flatten all this, I just right click and hit flatten, and now that is compressed into one picture. So when I do File, Save As, I can choose JPEG and then rename it, and I'm going to go save it in that folder on my desktop. And then go ahead and hit yes, and now it's saved, so then I can go to that folder and upload that file on Canvas. And that is how you would do the 5 senses Photoshop assignment. If you do not have Photoshop, try and do something similar in Word, or you could even put them in a Google slide and arrange your pictures that way. There's lots of different things you could do to make a collage, and then just turn it in on Canvas when you're finished.